Welcome to this edition of Backstage Pass with Leah Chang. I'm your host, Leah Chang. Today, I'm sitting down with...
Hi, everyone. My name is Antonio Del Valle. I'm the composer, lyricist, and book writer of Bel-Air.
So what's really, really exciting is that Prospect Musicals is having a musical lab that Antonio is part of, and he's here to tell us all about his creation.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I'm very excited to be talking with you all. That's great. Yeah, so I'm originally part of the BMI Lehman Engel workshop downtown.
Okay.
And so I created a 10-minute musical last year titled South First, which was an exploration of gentrification in the historically Afro-Puerto Rican neighborhood in Williamsburg. So I submitted that to Prospect, and thankfully I got in based off of that. So Bel-Air is a story that I wrote that ties back a little bit about my own personal story. And it talks about this moment that happens in less than a millisecond. My writing prompt was a jiffy. So something that happens before you can really even process it. So I was thinking about just these freak accidents that could happen. And so I wrote the story of Bel-Air. It talks about the story of this father and son who are getting together every other weekend and working on this car together. They're working on this project. And the car symbolizes this idea of trying to find connection, even though they are separate, even though they don't live together. And so it's a story that really talks about this issue of idolizing your father and idolizing this dream version and seeing when that changes and how quick that changes.
Right.
Almost in a jiffy.
Okay. And how long have you been a musical theater writer?
That's a great question. So I started off as a performer, actually. I went to PPAS, I went to an arts high school, and that was really where I started writing. I would sit behind one of the really out-of-tune pianos and just start, clunking away and digging through the sheet music that I was assigned and trying to plunk it out.
Sure.
But it's been about, I want to say, 8 years now. I also went to an arts college. I went to Boston Conservatory at Berklee.
Okay.
And so I took a bunch of songwriting classes there. But then I took a little bit of a break. The pandemic happened and life happened, but musical theater writing found me again. I had this kind of little tangent where I started doing more music production as well.
Okay.
So I worked in a recording studio in the South Bronx as an audio engineer. But it wasn't until I remember I was in a really dark place and I listened to the revival of Sweeney Todd. I was driving and I was listening to the revival of Sweeney Todd, and I just remembered all the lyrics. And it just was this thing of like, oh wow, this is this part of me that I just haven't, nurtured, I haven't watered in so long. And so I started writing again.
Well, the cool thing is that you have so many different hyphenates. You wear a lot of different hats, and you can just pull out, I want to create in this medium today. I mean, I'm the same thing. I'm not a musical theater writer, but I am a multi-hyphenate. So, and when you were part of the BMI, what were you creating for that?
So I'm still in second year right now.
Oh, I see.
Right now.
So how do you get into BMI? What is it? Because many people don't know, but it is coveted.
Yeah.
And how is it working out for you?
Yeah, so you apply. There's this application portal where you submit this kind of like pre-screen almost of just material that you've written. And then if they like that, they call you back for round 2. And I remember it's at 7 World Trade Center on the 30th floor. And so I get in, and as soon as you walk into the lobby, the smell is just luxurious. You feel like you've made it. And so when I went up to the 30th floor, I walked inside and I was like, wow, this feels like the biggest moment of my life.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And you literally see you're about to audition and you walk into the room and it's just a view of the skyline of downtown, and it's like, wow. And so, I auditioned in front of a bunch of panelists, and it was 3 songs and I played all of them. And it was great, and I got in, which was amazing. It's changed my life.
Great. And how has it changed your life?
Well, in a couple of ways. It's given me community. It's given me a network
And a
of
touchstone
writers.
into the industry.
Yeah, of course, definitely. It's done that and so much more. But I think the thing that I've taken away the most from it is being able to be so collaborative with people and to be, the first year is very interesting because it's this very quick double dating. And speed dating at that, you know, so you're like constantly working with new people. You get to see what you like, what you don't like,
Sure.
you know. But yeah, it was really cool. First year I got accepted as a lyricist, but I had the opportunity to work as a composer and a lyricist, which is very non-traditional, but I was very grateful for that because I started off as a composer.
And because you could.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it, because you could.
Yeah, I was very, very grateful for that opportunity. And that's what led to me creating that 10-minute piece by myself, which was really fun. That was my first dive into doing everything by myself.
Okay. And so what does it mean for you to have this opportunity with Prospect?
It's a great question. Well, I'm really, really grateful. I think it's been such a wonderful opportunity to be working with this organization because there's so many moving parts and it's such a quick process, but through the entire time I felt very much so that there's been this constant line of communication. There's this, it's very of the moment.
Well, you're creating in a jiffy.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, I've been very grateful to, you know, be working with Prospect simply because they've been so supportive of this process.
Yeah, I love Prospect musicals. I really do.
Yeah, and everyone's creating something that's so different. And I think that that's really cool of what can you create in
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Kind of like what we were talking
are
about.
political acts.
Of course.
As artists of color.
Exactly.
Right?
And I think that's something that's really interesting is this notion of, well, yes, I can write music, I can work as a lyricist, but I think that BMI in a very conservative way really wants you to focus on one thing. So when you are doing things that, you know, might be a little bit different than that, you know, it can be very much like, what are you doing?
So you can do one track for BMI, another track for Prospect, and another track for you.
Yeah. And it's given me different tools, ultimately. I think the thing that I've been most appreciative with BMI, including finding community, is also realizing how to advocate for myself as a Black artist.
Excellent.
And how to, you know, find those happy compromises where my work is still, you know, holding its integrity, but I'm also trying to navigate those spaces as we so often do.
That's so exciting. Well,
Yeah.
It's so wonderful to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Can't wait to see your piece.
It's going to be great. I can't wait to see you there.